how to install a Raypak or Rheem gas heater. Now you need qualified plumber to do the gas connection. That's down here. That's the gas. You can have a look at all of that if you're thinking about getting a Rheem. This is made by Rheem, this Raypak heater. You can pause on there and have a read of that if you want, because the gas pressure, supply pressure does have to be correct coming into this. The power is already done. You don't have to connect a cord on, so we can just run that in and plug it in. And this is an outdoor unit, so it's got its outdoor flue and venting system all set up. Very, very important when it comes to positioning the heater. This is a big part of the installation, is knowing where to put it. In the book, it gives all of the specification. I've got a wooden fence. You've got to think what's combustible and what's not. And I've also got this ivy tree sort of thing growing. You've also got to think what's going to grow out and get in the way and not. You don't want it, the heater would dry it out. If it overgrew and then the heater dried it out, and then it can catch on fire. So you got to stay away from stuff that's going to grow over it. Got stuff on the ground here as well. So all of that, near that, while there is enough room to put the heater in there, the tree does it out. It's too close to the fence, and it's also very close to the motor, so we're giving that a miss. Down this way again, that green thing there's your blower. That's the old gas heater that we're replacing, and the heater actually needs to go. The water sucks in here into the front of the pump. From the pump it goes to the filter, and then from the filter it goes to the heater. So after the filter is where I'll be cutting that pipe. Also going to be taking those old fittings off for the old instantaneous heating. So we'll be then coming in and putting it in. So positioning it's really important. I've got another brush fence here with this brush section that's bent around. That's not permanent, but that brush fence is. So again, you can put up panels up on here if you want to get the heater, you're really tight as to where to go. But again, down there after the filter there's a stump, and then there's all this tan bark on the ground. So what I'm going to do is put it on the concrete. There's a path here, and there's plenty of room with the heat there to still come around the path. So I'm actually going to put it on the path there. I'm going to turn it around the other way. I was just positioning to see what was going to work. That's going to bring the gas pipe and electricity out, so that's ugly. So turn it around for that sake, still leaving good access to the control panel. And the plumbing, you know, I can either come in and out there, or I can do it at the other end. I'm going to do it at the other end, up near this valve. So I'll chop that, I'll dig all that out there, chop that valve off, and that'll be the point where I join in and bring my connections up to the heater on this side. Now, really important also when it comes to siting these heaters and putting them in, is that they have to be level. And this concrete path would be nice if it was level, but it isn't. You can see it's miles off on the bubble here. So we've actually got to lift it up a long way to get it level. And if you have a look at that gap there to there, that's how much we have to lift it up. The way the heater works, there's a burner down the bottom, down here, and there's a heat exchanger further up. And the water goes through the heat exchanger, so the heat has to get from the burner up. If it's on an angle, you can imagine the heat wants to go straight up, so it's just going to hit the wall. So it's very important that the heater's vertical in order for it to work efficiently and properly. It's going to burn out and not be efficient and not work if you install it on an angle. So you do have to take the time to get it level. One of the really important things is to get that level, and have a look at that. I've got some pavers underneath it to cope with the slope, and I'm going to use construction adhesive to stick those into place so it's all permanent. But very important that you get the heater level, and this is what we've achieved there. So have a look up here. I'm going to put another video about leveling and put more detail in about getting in and actually leveling that. But so far as installing it, we've got that in place, and we've cut our pipes. We need to, I think I've already said this, pump, filter, and then out of the filter comes into the heater. And there is a bypass valve there, so I've cut that out already. It's just an old one, but bypass valves hardly ever get turned. So I'm actually going to put that back in the line between the inlet and the outlet, and fully close it. But it just means if there's ever any pressure issues or a bigger pump gets put on or anything like that, we'll be able to balance the pressure out between the two. It'll just cost me a couple of T-pieces, which will just make the job that little bit better. So we've got an inlet and outlet here on the plumbing. So out of the filter, we're going to come along, and we're going to come in to the inlet, and through a T is where it'll happen. It'll come to a T and then come into the inlet, and then we'll have the ball valve, and then it'll come to another T where it can go straight back and bypass the heater, or it can come up here out of the inlet. So with the valve closed, all of the water will flow through the heater up into the inlet, out of the inlet, back to the spa. So we're getting the heater installed here. What I've done in the line, I put in a couple of T's with a valve in the middle. So what that does, when that's closed, it'll put the full flow through the heater. This is a full flow heater, but we have a 1.5 horsepower pump, so it's right on the maximum flow. So I want the ability to open that up a little bit to adjust the flow if need be. So we've got 2 T-pieces. What's going to happen is we're going to come from here in to the heater. So this is going to be closed, so all the water is going to come into the heater here, and then it's going to come out of the heater. We're just going to come out and then down on an angle and into there. So there'll just be a join and an elbow here, coming up on the angle for the least amount of joins into here. And for the inlet, we're going to come out and around and go square, and then drop down into that T-piece. So there we go. The plumbing side of things is all done now. So just to explain it all one last time, from the pump, the suction of the pump is here. The return of the pressure pump, it comes out, it goes into the filter, out of the filter and around, and then we've got a closed T here. So all the water has to come up through here, and that is flowing in to the heater, and then out of the heater is coming out and returning down into that T, and that goes to the other side of that closed T valve. So if we open that up a little bit, there'll only be partial flow going through the heater, so you've got that variability if we want it. So that's the plumbing side of things. It does have to be directional with the inlet and the outlet. It does have to be class 12 pipe that you plumb it in, not the standard class 9. And that's all good and straight. And I've also wanted to put heat sinks in it, so that if you do get a situation where it gets really hot, heat doesn't go down. So there's a heat sink to there. So I've not got this running and then up into a filter or up into a pump or something like that, where the heat can possibly transfer into it. So this one, obviously the heater comes straight down on the angle, and this one, it just goes around the corner and then down. I had to stay up because the gas fitting is down there, so I had to stay clear of that. So those 2 heat sinks are in place to protect it. So if you do get a drastic meltdown, it's just pipe. You're not going to destroy pumps and filters and things like that. But there's all sorts of safeties inside the heater, so that won't happen. So plumbing side of it done. Electrical side of it is just simply plugging it in, and we'll do that now. Okay, so the heater's all plumbed in and going, and now there's just a little bit here to understand how things go on. Reset, that's pretty self-explanatory, that great big red button to reset the system. It's showing now the 15 degrees is actually the temperature of the water that's in the system. And your mode button here is the interesting one. You'll see here it's saying spa. If we press mode, it says pool 28. So there's a pool mode where you can turn your valves and connect it. This can all be done electronically through the whole lot, or this one's just heating a spa, so it's separate. But what you can do, you can set the pool mode on a certain temperature if you want to maintain the spa at a certain temperature, so it only takes a very short time to heat it up, so you can maintain it at a lower temperature and then just flick it over to spa when you want to take it up right to your spa temperature. That'll save you a bit of energy, a bit of money. But on pool mode, it's only going to heat up to what it's set for on pool, and on spa mode it's going to go right up to 40. You need to make sure that it's on the right mode. Just pressing the mode button power, it'll turn it off if you want to shut it down. And if you're wanting to run the filter without the heater coming on, you can either turn it off or you can turn it to pool, so that it'll only go to a certain amount. There's all sorts of options and things that you can do. So there you go. It's ready to go. So we're just going to flick the switch over here, turn on the pump, and this will start. There's water running through the heater. Got a bit of air going through the system, pumping out. And there you see the little flame come up. It's all happy. It's got enough. The pressure switch is saying it can come on. And then woof. That woof The side panel here gave a bit of a kick when it did it. The heater is now on and running. And you'll be able to tell, you put your hand over the top here and there's heat coming out. So you hear the woof and you see the little flame symbol and you know that it's heating. Now it's pulling water up, it's dropping a degree because it was a little bit warmer up here in the heater than what it was down in the spa. But that'll very quickly get that going and get your spa heated up. So there you go, she's on and running.